You said this afternoon you felt like your head was going to explode when you considered all the possibilities for this evening. Was this one of them?
Absolutely not, Jonathan. I'm sick right now because I know how to make fire with Flint.
Do you think they knew Suri would be on Survivor 50, and so production gave us the option to remove forced firemaking as a way to try and get her to the end? I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I will not be betting any money on Suri in firemaking challenges. Another season of Australian Survivor has come and gone, and boy howdy, it really flew by. The season felt really short for some reason. It feels like only a few weeks ago it had just started, and now we've already crowned a winner? I have what I believe are complex thoughts on this season. Some people are calling it the greatest season ever. Some people are saying it doesn't really count for anything. And I've got this whole watching your friend on Survivor and getting activated like a sleeper agent whenever you recognize a mannerism of this from real life on the TV. Aspect of it as well. So today, let's take a look at Australian Survivor versus the world. We'll look at the good, the bad, and a whole lot of the mixed. I think the mixed section of this video will be the longest, but let's get into it. I hope this goes without saying, but this video will contain spoilers for all of Australian Survivor versus the world. If you haven't seen it, then you can still watch the video if you want. I'm not your dad. You might even have a good time trying to figure out what I'm rambling about the entire time. Let me know in the comments if you've never heard of Survivor before now. We'll start with the good. And it's always really hard to watch a season of Survivor and say something is unequivocally 100% a flawless aspect of the season. So I'll start with, I think this was one of the most unobtrusive seasons of Australian Survivor in the history of the show. We got 1.5 dumb twists this season. And I can't even be that mad about the double tribal twist not being great, because that's something US Survivor has done in the past, and it was necessary due to the time constraints they were under this time around. Aside from that firemaking twist in episode 4, Australian Survivor showed real restraint. I feel like I'm putting the bar on the floor with this praise, but when you consider your average season of Australian Survivor and how much off-the-wall random stuff they like to pull out of their hat, I'm pretty happy. No votes turning into tribe swaps, no dead man walking, no saboteur, no eliminating a jury member, and most importantly for me, nothing that actively punished the tribe that won immunity that round. I'm not going to pretend I'm in love with the knowledge is power advantage and the fact that it existed this season, but I think out of all the instances of it we've had across all of Survivor, having someone tear it up to build trust is a novel scenario that warranted its inclusion. This is a weird thing to mention in a review, but the opening title sequence may have been one of my favorites of all time. There was just a level of fun in the intro you don't always find. George getting hit in the face with the flag, Luke coming out of the bag, Tommy's wolf howl actually making it into the intro? I have a lot to say about the overall edit, but this is a really fun 40 seconds every episode that I never skipped, and hats off to the editors for that. To be fair, I never skipped the Survivor intro, but it was still fun. Alright, so far my list of positives include the twists aren't as bad as they normally are, and the intro was funny. Let's talk about the cast. I have a lot of opinions on the cast we could have gotten, but with the constraints placed on the show, I think it's safe to say the cast was pretty damn good. You can't go wrong having Parvati, Suri, or Tony. All three are Survivor legends, and obviously deserve to be there. Rob's flameout in the first episode was also a lot of fun, and I know a few people who really felt vindicated seeing it happen. Or maybe even making it happen.
I don't know if you know this, but I already won Survivor, so I think I might know what to do a little bit.
To me, personally, the stars of the World Tribe were Tommy, Cass, and Lisa. Not the stars as far as the edit was concerned, but I think my enjoyment of them in spite of this just goes to show how iconic they are. I could easily watch an entire season of just those three hanging out on an island. Cass, who was an absolute beast in the challenges, was so fun in confessionals, and seemed like she was built to play this game. Tommy, who stole the show every time he was on screen, he seemed so genuinely excited to be there, and I just love that in this world of gods and kings and god slayers, we have Tommy from Finland running around competing with them. His excitement at finally drawing the correct rock, his commitment to wearing that wolf poncho even though he looked like he would die of heat stroke. When I think of someone to represent the world, and just how vast and unique Survivor is from continent to continent, Tommy from Finland captured everything I wanted in a global showdown. Of course, my actual favourite this season was Lisa. It's a weird experience watching your friend on TV and getting woken like a sleeper agent whenever they say something you recognise them as saying in real life.
It's so cute!
It was in fact amazing. But even without that, Lisa served as such an awesome voice for the audience.
Without any votes.
the hell does that work?
Well, I can't hear the story.
You think you'd be cool if Sari was saying she wants to play with you? I know I wouldn't. Survivor New Zealand is a weird thing that doesn't exist anymore, but I'm thrilled that Lisa was the representative and I think she did New Zealand proud. I know people will have opinions about her episode 7 moment, but I'm alright with it. It's not like she wanted to quit because she missed her vape or couldn't handle it anymore. She knew Tommy had a chance to win and wanted him to have that opportunity over her. I understand if you don't like it, but I've made my commitment to being a Lisa Stan channel and I'm sticking to it no matter what. One silver lining of Lisa sticking around is that it gave us the funniest intro to any episode.
The thing about being on the bottom is I get to do all the on the bottom tropes. Walking along the beach by myself, sitting in the shelter looking off and no one's talking to me, taking my rice last.
Anyone else having some?
See what I mean? When you have a castaway who can use the super fandom to poke fun at a Survivor meta-narrative while also partaking in it, sincerely? What's not to love? The Aussie tribe was on this season too. I think it's only fair to say they were good. Not as good as the World tribe, but like, they couldn't be? It's not fair to ask them to be? George, Shawnee, David, Luke, Kirby, all do represent what Australian Survivor is, for better or for worse.
I don't trust George as far as I can throw him, which I'm guessing is about 20-ish meters. Maybe 25, depending on if I've eaten or not.
And for what it's worth, I think Sav's arc this season may have been the funniest thing ever put to TV. She spent every episode talking about how she 100% did not want someone to go home, then she would vote for them to go home, then she would be sad because she had no agency, even though she could very easily not vote for the people she was telling that she did not want to go home. Then, this person she wanted to be her ride or die so badly ended up voting her out. It was very Charlie Brown-esque. I loved it. It goes without saying, but I think the art department killed it this season. The challenges look great, tribal look great, idols look great, very talented people work on the show, and you love to see it. And I think now is as good of a time as any to mention that JLP was amazing this season. He was witty, he was charming, he was playful. His interactions with all the castaways were a mixture of love and reverence for the caliber of players he was hosting. It was clear this entire season that much like a certain cast member, JLP really loves Survivor. I cannot imagine anyone watching the season and thinking that it would be a good idea to replace JLP. But if he had to stop being the host, I'm happy that he ended on what seemed to be a dream come true for him.
Well, we asked the world to come play Australian Survivor, and you did not disappoint. Your passion and commitment to the game has given us a remarkable season, so thank you. And you Aussies weren't bad either.
Speaking of not half bad, time to talk about the bad. And really it's just the format. I wanted more, longer Survivor. I don't need a 55-day season with 24 players. I imagine Channel 10 would not have the budget for that in the slightest. But were they really unable to get 20 or 30 days with just 2 more players? Throw Matt from UK Survivor on the World Tribe, and maybe Ferris on the Aussie Tribe. They definitely could have made it happen. Eventually I'll fully analyze 39 versus 26 versus 16 day Survivor, but Survivor is a game played in those downtime moments. It's played when you can build real connections with people by surviving together, suffering together, and working together. If you're on a 16-day season, everything is just fast. I can't always tell the difference between a 26 and 39-day season, but I could definitely feel it watching this. That is not me saying this is not a real season of Survivor, it is just different. Another thing I'll say didn't do it for me was the editing. I understand it's entirely personal preference. Australian Survivor has an editing style that sometimes really hits for me, and sometimes I can't stand it. This season may have been the latter. Look, I think protagonist-based storytelling often serves Australian Survivor very well. I like Titans vs Rebels, even though there are only 5 characters in that season. When you do a cast of all-stars, I want to see those all-stars! If you tell me you've brought a superfan from New Zealand, a PhD holding web editor, challenge beast from Quebec, and a wolfman from Finland who is an amazing outdoorsman, I'd very much like to see those 3 at almost every opportunity. And if you're bringing back Sari, I would also like to see her every now and again. I like Survivor the best when it's a genuine whodunit murder mystery, where we as the audience slowly get to unravel and figure out who's most likely to take it all at the end. You can tell some really subtle stories that are improved by a second watch. But I think the numbers paint my picture perfectly. Parvati had the most confessionals with 76. Luke had the second most with 50. Sari had the third most with 31. Tomei had 7, which is the same number as Rob, and I get sad every time I think about that. Lisa had 19, 15 of which were in her first or last episode. And you may not have noticed, but a good few of those confessionals were actually about Sari and not really about Lisa.
If I can't do anything,
How's it going?
really okay. Yeah. Is the best thing I can do get things set up a little bit better for Sari?
Australian Survivor does not tell subtle stories, and I think this may have been the least subtle of all of them. I don't know anyone who didn't have Parvati pegged as the winner from the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it takes a lot of suspense out of it. Parvati did play a great game. Parvati 100% deserved to win. I do not have a problem with that. I just wish the story we were told to get to that point were a little different. So what about the mixed? I think the challenges this season were not as good as they normally are, which is very funny considering I just made a video about how good Australian Survivor challenges are. But if you have a contestant on your season whose moniker is the Puzzle Queen,
Freaking out because I have to do a puzzle against Lisa. We know that she's Puzzle Queen.
then surely you put a puzzle or 2 on the season, especially if Sari is there as well. I understand Australian Survivor doesn't do puzzles and cares more about the physicality of the challenges, but you do need to adapt to your cast at least a little bit, right? Is this the only season in Survivor history with literally 0 puzzles in it? No, that key thing in episode 2 does not count as a puzzle. This is such a nitpick, but I also thought the auction was weirdly not that good. And I'm a Survivor auction guy. I cut my teeth on the Survivor auction. I know a thing or 2 about covered items. So having an auction where everything is good and everyone runs out of money super quickly, it was bizarre. Although it did give us this Lisa moment which I relate to so hard.
How does it feel making Merge this season?
I think the mixed is just how I have to describe this entire season. It had a really strong start, a super fun middle, and then had to slowly limp its way towards the end. Everything just left me wanting a bit more, and I think that's unfair of me in a way. Is it a sign of a good season that my main criticism was I couldn't have it for longer? Or is it a sign that it didn't fulfill what I needed and actually makes it a bad season? I'm not sure. Overall, is Australian Survivor vs. the World the best season a Survivor ever made? No. But is it the worst? Also no. It's hard to really rank this season against anything, because to me, I didn't really feel like I was watching a season of Survivor. I was on a theme park ride instead. I got to see the coolest things ever. I got to witness legendary players who I never in a million years thought could interact. I got to see Survivor from around the world come together and make something entirely unique. And it was really weird to watch, but I think I did have fun. But what do you think? How do you rate Australian Survivor vs. the World? Let me know. Until next time, I've been Henry Hickman Survivor, and if Australian Survivor vs. the World is so good, why is there no Australian Survivor vs. the World 2?